8 a.m. on a hot morning in June, more than 50 miners started digging for gold in the newly opened Calico mines in Los Angeles. But despite their 7-day work week, they'll never find a single nugget. These are animatronics.
Howdy, y'all. We're glad to have you in the mines today.
The miners started their Sisyphean workday after a reopening ceremony at Knott's Berry Farm in L.A. The morning featured a low-key appearance from one man who most people won't recognize by his face, or even his signature Hawaiian shirt. This is Garner Holt, and even though you won't see his name anywhere on the ride, he designed and built these miners.
It's almost like a magician, and then people just look and stare in disbelief, and it's like, wow, that's just amazing what I've just seen. And that's kind of what we do, is kind of like, three-dimensional magic. My parents always wanted me to be a veterinarian until that one fateful day that they took me to Disneyland. I remember walking through Disneyland and seeing the Pirates of the Caribbean and the Haunted Mansion. Something struck me. How did that work? How did it all function? How was it possible that these things that obviously weren't alive looked like real people? I just decided at that very moment that's what I wanted to do the rest of my life. I built a little shack and called it a haunted house. That was my first commercial endeavor, was my haunted house, 10 cents a ticket. But it was a starting ground, and it was the very beginnings of Garner Holt Productions.
Making a lifelike robot requires proficiency in so many different arts and technologies, it's hard to imagine Garner's company does it all under one roof.
We develop it on screen, we carve it, sculpt it, making skins, body shells, costuming, mechanical, electrical, pneumatics, programming, makeup and figure finishing, lighting and sound and special effects. Get it on site, install it, and maintain it. Basically what we're creating is the illusion of life, and that's not really very easy.
Garner Holt Productions, currently a 70-person company, has produced thousands of figures. They've made over 400 for Disney, everything from Pixar characters to a 45-foot-tall fire-breathing dragon.
A lot of people say, well, what does an animatronic figure cost? And, I usually equate it to a car. I'll turn it around on them and I'll say, well, what does a car cost? And they'll say, well, what kind of car? And I'll say, yeah, exactly. We've sold human characters for $25,000 or $30,000, and we've sold human characters for $1 million. And they're all human characters, but it just depends on what they do. Animatronics can be very cost intensive, but when you look at what it does for a ride or something in a park, and they perform over and over and over again, they pay for their keep. Occasionally you reach this strange thing called the Uncanny Valley. It's this spot in which you actually have a fear of something because it looks so real and you realize it's not. I've had a number of characters that we've done. People have, seen it at a distance and walked up to it and believed it was a real person up there. And they're very surprised and they're startled. If you can bring out some emotion in somebody, that's the best feeling in the world.